नमस्कार, स्वागत है आपका राज्यसभा टीवी में। आप देख रहे थे यूनियन बजट 2015-16। अभी तक वित्त मंत्री का भाषण आप सुन रहे थे और आज वित्त मंत्री के भाषण में कई नई चीजें भी देखने को मिली। कुछ चीजों को उन्होंने स्थिर रखा है और खास तौर से जो टैक्स पेयर्स हैं, जो रेगुलर टैक्स पेयर्स हैं, उनके लिए खबर ये है कि उनके टैक्स स्लैब में कोई बदलाव नहीं किया गया है। हालांकि कारोबारियों के टैक्स स्लैब में बदलाव की बात 4 साल के भीतर करने को कही गई है। इसके अलावा हमारे साथ कई खास मेहमान हैं और हमारे सहयोगी गिरीश निकमदी।
Okay, welcome to the budget special. Today you just heard it was a 95-minute speech which the finance minister made today. You know, a longer one than last year. Last year, if you remember, when he made his first speech, he had some trouble, but this time he was able to complete that 95-minute speech standing, and it was quite a very interesting speech. I'm sure my guests here in the panel here and outside will be able to analyze it better. But on the face of it, the finance minister seems to be walking some of the talk which he and his government seem to have made in the last 1 year since the election campaign started. So we have with us right in the studio SP Singh of Deloitte and NR Bhanumurthy, member of the National Institute of Public Finance and Policy. Welcome to both of you. Bhanumurthy, your first responses?
Yeah, I think the government has really tried to target growth. I think that's a major focus of this budget, and at the same time they would like to see the more jobs opportunities being created. This is very consistent with what we have seen in the economic survey yesterday,
right?
Creating opportunities and reducing vulnerabilities. In that sense, I think they're given more focus on industry, revival of the industrial sector. At the same time, there are some, as we talked in the morning, I think the finance minister tried to postpone the fiscal deficit target for the next couple of years. So that was expected, and that is going to lead to more public capital expenditure, which is going to attract more private investment.
Absolutely. Mr. Singh, Mr. Singh, I just want one thing which was being looked at by, very anticipated at least by the corporates and industry, these big bang reforms. Do you see any big bang reforms here?
One way you can say that there is big bang reform. Now, reform is not always that you give benefit. Reform is also when you put a mechanism in place, right, which takes care of, plugging the loopholes and creating opportunities for the investors. So in that way, one can say that this is a big bang reform. If you look at the way the minister is trying to put the mechanism in place to deal with the generation of black money by ensuring that cash transactions should be minimized.
He has said that he's going to bring a law on this.
And bring a law. So that is one, because that is the source of the generation of black money. If you reduce that, then in that case you deal with it.
The second, छोटे-छोटे पहलू, जी आप बात पूरी कर लीजिए.
The second one is that if somebody is caught with black money, I mean whether it is kept in India or kept outside India, then how harsh are you? I mean, when you increase the cost of misusing
black money and keeping black money.
Exactly. So yes.
जी, मैंने पूछा कि अगर ये सारे प्रयास वित्त मंत्री की तरफ से किए जा रहे हैं, तो क्या हम ये माने कि अर्थव्यवस्था के अच्छे दिन की शुरुआत यहाँ से होगी? बहुत सारे लोग इसको विक्टर ह्यूगो मूवमेंट लाने की एक तरह से तैयारी कर रहे थे, तो क्या हम माने कि कुछ इस तरह की पहल हो पाई है?
जी, जहाँ तक वित्तीय सिस्टम और उसके बाद एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन का सवाल है, ये 2 दिन के अंदर में चेंज होने वाला नहीं होता है। लेकिन जो फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर एक मैसेज देते हैं, वो परकोलेट होता है डाउन टू दी ग्रास लेवल। और इस तरह से यदि हम लोग जो टैक्स एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन को भी इम्प्रूव करने की बात उन्होंने कही, वो एक बहुत पॉजिटिव चीज़ है, क्योंकि आप रेगुलेशन लाते हैं और साथ ही साथ यदि आप एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन को भी उस डायरेक्शन में ले जाते हैं, तभी आप उस चीज को अचीव कर सकते हैं।
तो ये जाता हुआ उस डायरेक्शन में
जाता हुआ दिखता है।
लेकिन क्या अगर इंडिविजुअल के लेवल पे हम सोचें तो क्या उसको कोई फायदा मिला, खास तौर से अगर टैक्सेशन का जो प्रोसेस पूरा उन्होंने बताया है, क्योंकि टैक्स स्लैब में जो इंडिविजुअल लेवल पे जो नौकरी पेशा लोग हैं उनके टैक्स स्लैब में ज्यादा परिवर्तन नहीं किया गया है, लेकिन ये भी खबरें हैं कि उन्होंने सर्विस टैक्स बढ़ा दिया, 12% से 14% कर दिया, तो कई सारी चीजें महंगी भी होने की है, यहाँ तक कि हायर एजुकेशन पे भी अब सेस देना होगा और सेकेंडरी एजुकेशन पे भी सेस देना होगा।
देखिए, जो इन्होंने अभी प्रावधान किया है उसमें सारी चीजें तो सामने आई नहीं है। जब फाइन प्रिंट्स आदमी देखेगा तब ज्यादातर बातें पता चलेंगी। लेकिन जैसे कुछ बेनिफिट दिया है उन्होंने, जैसे मान लीजिए मेडिकल एक्सपेंसेस के लिए 15,000 था, उसको 25,000 20,000 बना दिया। उस तरह से सीनियर सिटीजन को भी सर्टेन बेनिफिट्स दिए। पीएफ का लिमिट को भी उन्होंने इंक्रीज किया अंडर डिफरेंट सेक्शंस। तो कुछ टिट बिट्स में जो
Mr. Singh, we've just got the budget papers with us. We're talking of benefits to taxpayers. So there's a series of benefits actually in terms of deduction of health insurance premium. It has been raised from 15 to 25,000 rupees. Senior citizens limit increased from 20 to 30,000 rupees.
PF increase in
PF, additional PF has been increased. Deduction limit as, additional deduction of 25,000 rupees allowed for differently abled persons. Limit on deduction on account of contribution to a pension fund increase, additional deduction.
Infrastructure bonds
So,
have been
4.44 lakhs, that's what the
He's saying
finance
that the
minister
benefit
said
will
will
be
be the
going.
benefit totally in terms of deductions. Is that right?
In fact, Girish, if you look at, I mean, this is movement towards the international scheme of taxation.
That's what he said. He made that clear also.
Exactly. So what happens, I mean, internationally is that there is lesser number of, deductions allowed to the corporate sector with less or the lower tax rate. So that provides them certainty. This is what he has done. When you come to individuals, then in case of individuals, you have to give certain benefits because each and every individual is not at the same level of economic, well-being, and you have to encourage.
So he has not raised the exemption limit, but he has given certain exemptions which will help the individual taxpayers.
Yes.
Panamurthy?
Yes, I think that's clear. I mean, almost if you compare to the previous existing system, close to 1 lakh rupee exemption limit seems to have gone up.
Right.
If you get into the tax, free bonds, or
Right.
the pension schemes, or the health insurance, which is very much important for the social security of all the citizens.
Absolutely.
In that sense, and my feeling is that this is going to help the common people to
Another
avail the
important
benefits.
thing which I noticed in his speech, as far as ordinary people are concerned, the kind of stress which they have laid on senior citizens. A whole lot of schemes have been announced as far as, and he's also talking of a universal social security scheme.
Yes.
और
Creating
इसके
some
अलावा
kind of a
उन्होंने
universal
प्रधानमंत्री
social
बीमा योजना, अटल पेंशन योजना,
So all these aimed at senior
दुर्घटना
citizens.
बीमा योजना, इस तरह की कई सारी योजनाओं की बात भी की जो खास तौर से गरीबों के लिए उसमें फोकस ज्यादा दिखा।
देखिए, बहुत बार ऐसा होता है, एक लोगों में एक धारणा होती है ना, मैं टैक्स क्यों पे करूं, यदि मैं जब मेरी उम्र ज्यादा हो जाए, मैं अर्न नहीं कर रहा हूं, उस समय मुझे कौन देखेगा। एक वो व्यू रहता है और जिसको टैकल करना बहुत जरूरी है। बहुत सारे जो डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज हैं आज उसमें लोगों में टैक्स पे करने की ज्यादा इच्छा, बिकॉज दे आर श्योर कि आगे उनका कोई देखने वाला है, गवर्नमेंट इज गोइंग टू लुक आफ्टर। उसी तरह की एक फीलिंग इस तरह से इन्होंने देने की कोशिश की है कि सर्टेन एज के बाद में यदि आप एक बहुत छोटा अमाउंट पे करते हैं और बाद में आपको एक बेनिफिट मिलता है पेंशन के फंड में।
It creates a kind of a positive atmosphere in the country and also confidence among the senior citizens. We are now joined by Kriti Mishra, our correspondent, who is at the FICCI. Kriti, what is the mood there? How has the industry reacted?
Girish, Budget 2015-16 has received a thumbs up from Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry, especially the move to really rationalize and remove number of exemptions that were given in the corporate tax and reducing it from 30% to 25% in the course of 4 years has really been welcomed by the industry. Even abolishing wealth tax and putting 2% surcharge on super rich, that step has also been welcomed by the industry. And MSMEs, which have been the mainstay of the Make in India campaign, establishing Mudra Bank for them has really been applauded by the industry, and also power outage that has crippled industry for a very long time, and establishing really funding 5 mega projects,
Ultra
power
mega
projects. The industry is extremely happy about the budget.
जी तो
Back to you,
इधर से तो
Girish.
बहुत
Okay, Kriti, stay back. You stay back. We'll come back to you. And if you have any guests, please let us know. We'll come back to you. Till then, we are now joined in by R. Srinivasan, Senior Associate Editor of the Hindu Business Line, with us. Srinivasan, how do you look at this budget? What is your first responses to it?
My initial reaction is that it is very much on the lines that the finance minister had indicated earlier. it is transformational in intent, but it is not a big bang budget in content.
Big bang in terms of reforms?
It's, big bang in terms of reform, big bang in terms of SOPs, big bang in terms of populism. It's pretty much a sensible budget. He has been very alive to the constraints that he's facing in terms of the availability of fiscal room. Attention has been paid to certain critical areas, like infrastructure, and particularly on financing infrastructure projects,
Right.
the deepening of the, bond market, creating that, new tax-free bonds to finance infrastructure, etc. These are necessary steps which had to be taken. Another pragmatic approach, I would say, is in the kind of template laid out for the ultra mega power projects, a plug and play model.
Right.
If you cannot sort out all the regulatory and clearances issues in one go,
He's saying that,
he's saying, okay, let me take small.
plug and play. We need to explain this to our viewers.
Okay,
What
plug
does it
and
mean by
play
plug and
means
play?
that a particular project will be presented to a bidder which has got all the necessary clearances in advance, whether it is land, whether it is environment, whether it is regulatory permissions, etc. What the investor then needs to do is to take a look at the financial viability of the project and make a bid accordingly, right? So what the government has done is that if it has not been able to cut through the entire regulatory, tangles surrounding this entire area of infrastructure, it has said, okay, let us sort of at least solve it in small bite-sized chunks. So you need an important project, say a stretch of road connectivity, you do a plug and play model. You need a bridge built, you get the clearances done for that, do the acquisitions for that, get the clearances done for that, and get that infrastructure built. So I think that it displays a lot of pragmatism.
Okay, Bhanumurthy?
Yeah, I think
This plug and play model, he said, if I remember correctly, that, in his own office, he has created some kind of infrastructure, 13 different permissions which need to be taken at one go.
Yes. No, I think it's basically part of the overall ease of doing business.
Yes.
I think this is something the corporate sector was looking forward for quite some time. The kind of project that we see in terms of the stalled projects, my guess is that all these, policy that is brought out in the budget today should help reduce the number of days in terms of starting a business, new business.
No, they are going away from business. See, one of the big things which was being looked after to, a lot of social activists in this country were very, very apprehensive about 2-3 very things about the social sector spending. We're still not very clear what is the kind of, we'll have to go through the paper still, but he made it very clear. Yesterday the Prime Minister made a speech in the Parliament, and today the Finance Minister talking about Manrega will not, Manrega is getting additional funding.
Yes.
ICDS is getting additional funding.
No, I don't think it's additional funding. He's saying that depending on the revenue mobilization,
Depending on the revenue buoyancy, he has actually, given some kind of a figure to how much more he can
yeah,
give.
at the moment he's committing for 35,000 crore.
35,000 crores, which I'm sure a lot of activists were not, were expecting a drastic
This is
reduction.
Manrega is mostly a counter-cyclical policy measure, particularly when you are not doing well in the rural segment. Then there will be demand for, it's a demand-driven
thing.
So it doesn't mean that every year it has to go on increasing. When you have a
But
good
there is a
agriculture-
political message there, Mr. Singh.
Yeah, I too agree, but I take point from Bala is in the sense that, if you have alternative for, the people in the rural areas,
So the demand will come
then the demand for Manrega will go down. So, and Manrega is not a, long-term solution for removing poverty. It's a quick, knee-jerk reaction, I would say. So, yeah, exactly. So
But this year you see the actual expenditure on Manrega will be
लेकिन
much
मनरेगा
lower.
में भी एक कंडीशन और उसके अलावा जो हायर एजुकेशन के तमाम संस्थान बनाए जाने के लिए, इंस्टीट्यूशंस बनाए जाने के लिए कहा गया है, लेकिन वो भी सरकार के पैसे से होगा या टैक्स पेयर्स के पैसे से होगा, क्योंकि सेस बढ़ा दिया गया है, हायर एजुकेशन के ऊपर भी सेस लगा दिया गया है और सेकेंडरी एजुकेशन पे भी. तो एक जब टैक्स पेयर्स से पैसा मिलेगा तब शायद उधर ज्यादा फंडिंग होगी, लेकिन दूसरी तरफ इतने सारे इंस्टीट्यूट खोलने होंगे तो ये कितना वायबल
देखिए,
होगा?
ये इंस्टीट्यूट एक साल में खुलेंगे ऐसी बात संभव नहीं है। ये तो एक इंटेंशन गवर्नमेंट का है कि हम इतने इंस्टीट्यूट इस इलाके में इस तरह का खोलेंगे। तो जो उन्होंने कहा अभी कि करीबन 18,000 करोड़ का फायदा होने वाला है इफ यू टेक डायरेक्ट टैक्स और इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स दोनों को हम लोग जोड़ते हैं। डायरेक्ट टैक्स में इट्स गोइंग डाउन बाय 8,000 करोड़, इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स द गेन विल बी अबाउट 23,000 करोड़।
One second, Mr. Singh. What it says here, please explain this also. Education cess in the secondary and higher education cess to be subsumed in central excise duty. How do you, what, how, I mean,
So subsumed means, you know, there will be one rate, so you don't have these three, I mean, getting into. So suppose, I mean, you know, 10% and the cess 1% or 2%, it makes 10.25%.
Right.
I mean,
so additional that separated, it's not the, is it only an administrative?
It's administrative, you know, and
Convenience के लिए.
convenience for the taxpayers also, because when you are
Convenience for the government
लेकिन
also.
ये जो-
It's a committed expenditure for
Yeah,
education.
लेकिन जो
Committed
सर्विस
expenditure
टैक्स
for the
बढ़ाया है,
education.
जो सर्विस टैक्स में 2% का इंक्रीज किया है, उससे बहुत सारे लोग जो खास तौर से शहरी मध्य वर्ग के लोग हैं जो बाहर जाते हैं और रेस्टोरेंट में खाना खाते हैं या फिल्में देखते हैं या क्लब मेंबरशिप को एंजॉय करना चाहते हैं, उनके लिए ये ज्यादा
थोड़ा
महंगाई
सा
हो
उसमें
गई है।
बढ़ेगा। लेकिन जैसे यदि आप मान लीजिए इंडस्ट्री या बिजनेस की दृष्टि से देखना शुरू करते हैं तो जो उस सेट ऑफ ले पाते हैं तो उनके लिए वो एक्चुअल एडिशन नहीं होता है कॉस्ट का। तो जरूरी नहीं है कि जो बिजनेस है वो आपको टोटल पास ऑन कर दे कस्टमर को। तो वो यदि मान लीजिए उनको सेट ऑफ मिल जाता है तो उसके अनुसार वो इंस्टेड ऑफ पासिंग द एंटायर इंक्रीज ऑफ 2% दे मे पास ऑन ओनली अ पार्शियल इंक्रीज। सो इट विल डिपेंड अपॉन हाउ, बट एट द एंड ऑफ द डे यू नो ही इज टॉकिंग अबाउट द GST गोइंग टू बी इंट्रोड्यूस्ड।
That is the, I mean, he has made a commitment now.
Commitment
April,
now.
For
April
next-
1, 2016,
for
it is
next,
going to start. It is a
Exactly,
commitment.
exactly.
It is a commitment which he cannot go back on. So you think that the corporate, the industry, everybody should be looking forward to this?
I think everybody is. I mean, you know, it's a big bang reform. You can
that is
say
a real big bang
it's a big
reform.
bang reform, and he is now committed that GST will be there in 2 year time. Now,
Oh, 1 year.
1 year.
2016.
yeah, 1 year time. And if you should appreciate that GST is pretty complex when it comes getting set off being given to various, I mean, you know, players, center, state, and like that. So the machinery has to be in place both at the end
That's
of the
exactly.
government.
Srinivasan, the machinery has to be in place. There's a lot of things which needs to be done. I don't know whether the compensation, the issue of compensation is is still, I don't think has resolved, because at least the finance minister's speech in the budget doesn't give us an indication of what kind of compensations they are thinking about. But this commitment to get into the GST regime is a welcome move.
It is absolutely welcome, because the roadmap to GST has been pretty clear for some time now.
Right.
But we were not able to get milestones, you know, clear milestones of when it will actually go into effect. I mean, industry and various other analysts have said repeatedly that, you know, just simply implementing GST will add 1 percentage point to your GDP growth, regardless of which series you're using. So, you know, if you're looking at 8.5%, you know, which is you know, about a 0.5 percentage increase in GDP growth rate, if you push in GST by another year or so, you might add a percentage to that. So that's a significant step. The commitment to doing it a year ahead is important. As for the compensation issue, you know, the Finance Commission has also indicated, and in fact it has indicated a higher level of compensation than what had earlier been proposed
Absolutely.
by the
You know,
government.
they are talking of a 5-year.
My sense is that the government may go towards that, because it now wants everybody on board. It has got a committed date to implement GST. So it's highly likely that the government veers towards the Finance Commission's recommendations.
One more thing.
One thing which I would like to add here is that when you are talking and the government has proposed that the GST to be brought in, there are two aspects which have to be taken care of. One is that, you know, there are different rates of VAT in various states, and you know, they have to be put in line because the GST will be one across the country, and this increase in service tax is basically, I mean, in that direction, to have a single rate in respect of VAT as well as the service tax.
इस
Okay,
वक्त
we now-
रेल मंत्री सुरेश प्रभु बजट पर अपनी बयान दे रहे हैं, चलते हैं वहाँ।
गई थी, निवेश नहीं हो रहा था, लोगों के जॉब जा रहे थे, इकोनॉमी बहुत ही कठिन परिस्थिति से गुजर रही थी। ऐसे
Okay, well, I think there's some audio problem getting what
के लिए
Suresh Prabhu is saying.
जिसमें निवेश बढ़ने के लिए कदम है, इन्फ्लेशन कम करने के लिए कदम है, आम आदमी के हित के लिए तो 5.5 करीबन 4.5 लाख रुपया अब कॉमन मैन के हाथ में आएगा, जिससे हमारी आज उनकी स्थिति बहुत सुधर जाएगी। पानी के लिए, बिजली के लिए, सड़क के लिए, आम जनता की जो भी चिंता है उसके लिए उन्होंने प्रावधान किए। साथ साथ में हमारी जो प्राथमिक सेवा है, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है, उसमें निवेश बढ़ाने के लिए जो कदम उठाए गए, मैं मानता हूं बहुत ही क्रांतिकारी है और उसका असर भी होगा। जैसे हमने एक नया कदम उठाया कि हम इन्वेस्टमेंट व्हीकल बनाएंगे, इन्वेस्टमेंट फंड बनाएंगे, जो इन्वेस्टमेंट फंड बहुत सारे विदेश से पैसा आने के बाद इतना विशाल होगा कि जिससे निवेश करने के बाद हमारी देश की सड़कें, हमारे देश के पावर प्लांट, हमारे देश की रेलवे, हमारे देश के अनेक पायाभूत सेवाओं में बड़े मात्रा में विकास किया जाएगा।
Okay.
रेल मंत्री का बयान सुन रहे थे, वो कह रहे थे कि बेहतर जिस तरह की हमारी अर्थव्यवस्था की हालत है उसमें एक बेहतर बजट पेश किया गया है। इस समय नितिन गडकरी ट्रांसपोर्ट मिनिस्टर भी बयान दे रहे हैं, चलते हैं।
Finance Minister giving highest priority to the infrastructure. Our country needs good infrastructure, and the investment in infrastructure increases more employment potential. And for the ports, for the roads, and for the railway, the Finance Minister give additional budget for us, and this is a great thing for us. And I am confident by using this, we can be succeed to give a good infrastructure to the country.
So, but do you feel that there is enough for the common man in this budget as well? Because the opposition seems to be taking...
देखो, as far as the opposition party is concerned, I don't want to make any comments on it because it is expected from them. But as far as a third point of view, the first time in the history of the country, the infrastructure is very important for the country: water, power, transport, and communication. As for the declaration of the 4 mega project, that will reduce the power cost. Because you know that in a mega project, the power cost is ₹1.20 per unit at the peak. So I feel that for the road sector, the power sector, the shipping, the ports, and particularly he is also taking a lot of care about the rural sector and giving the priority to the NREGA. He increased the fund and Manrega, and at the same time he also give the priority to the Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. So these are very much important thing as far as the rural infrastructure is concerned. Thank you, sir. It's a good point.
और इस वक्त हम चलते हैं फिक्की, हमारी संवाददाता कृति मिश्रा वहां पर मौजूद है और उनके साथ हैं एग्जीक्यूटिव डायरेक्टर जुबिलेंट लाइफ साइंस लिमिटेड के कृति। क्या किस तरह के रिएक्शन मिल रहे हैं वहां पर मेहमानों की तरफ से आपको आज के बजट को लेकर, क्या कह रहे हैं?
Right, Amrita. I am joined by Mr. Shyam Bang, who's Executive Director of Jubilant Life Sciences. So, welcome to Rajya Sabha Television. It was a budget of great expectations, but was it a budget of great delivery too?
I think Finance Minister has addressed, if you look at the macroeconomical kind of a system and situation in India today, he has tried to make it more inclusive and beneficial for the general masses of the country. He has empowered the states by allocating more revenues, more resources to the states. Even in the 2 days back, the way the finance report, the survey has allocated. Even in the coal auction blocks, more resources have been allocated to the states for the development. So probably making the states more responsible and making them more resourceful. When it comes to like inclusive growth, he has made provisions for everybody, including minorities, including students, including even like the Parsi community, allocation for every kind of, for women. He has increased the allocation of Manrega. So much of allocation has been made, a huge boost in the infrastructure that he's talking about, the construction of roads, the railways. And then indirectly, all these allocations will have benefit to the industry as well. If there is more construction, obviously you need all those construction goods, you need more steel, you need more cement, you need all construction materials, more employment for people. So in general, it leads to the boost in the economical growth in the country. So obviously there are some small things which might cause disappointment to the industry as such, but otherwise the the budget has been, I think, very useful, coming to the expectations of people.
Right, sir. You talked about disappointments. What disappointments are you talking of?
Okay, I'll come to the disappointment a little later, but the beneficial things that have come to the industry is the removal of the SAD, the auxiliary duty on the import of goods, which was a pain point for the industry for a long time, which was getting additional burden on the products, which has been removed, which is very good. He has reduced the basic customs duty on some of the imported items which are not available in the country, and which was increasing the cost of the products being made in the country and making that manufacturing not very competitive in the country. That will help the manufacturing industry. The excise duty has not been touched so much, barring a small little education cess increase, so that stays very well. The only pain point is the service tax, which has been increased from 12% to 14%, which certainly will cause discomfort to some of the industry. Otherwise, barring that, there is an incentive for making electrical vehicles in the country, which is very good. There is an incentive for, there is an investment allocation for non-conventional energy like the solar and wind energy and those kinds of things. So that will boost some investment in that direction. There is allocation for medical aids for senior citizens or super senior citizens, where the government is going to spend money. So obviously the manufacturing of those goods will improve. The manufacturing of leather goods should improve with the reduction in the excise duty on the leather goods. So those are some of the good things happening. So barring that service tax, I think everything else is good for the industry.
Right. So a lot of positive things are there, positive reception by the industry for Union Budget 2015-16. Back to the studio now.
Okay, now we will go to the parliament where my colleague Vishal Daya is there with some of the MPs and politicians, MPs and others there. Vishal, whom do you have with you?
Well, Girish, political reactions have started coming in. It has been just a short while since the budget speech has come to an end, and the initial reactions which are coming in from the opposition parties, specifically Congress, is criticizing the budget outrightly. The Congress leaders are saying that this seems to be a corporate-friendly budget. This seems to be a budget which only talks about commissions, committees, and promises for the future, but no roadmap for the current financial year. That's 2015-16, no concrete benefits which could be given, which could be taken from this particular budget to the common man. So in essentiality, the criticism from the opposition has started trickling in, and within next few hours or so we will have finer details when there will be detailed press conferences by these political parties as to what their
विशाल, आपके
objections
पास
are.
हम लौटेंगे. आपने कहा कि जो विपक्ष है उसका ये आरोप है कि कमीशन, कमेटी एंड प्रॉमिसेस वाला बजट ज्यादा देखने को मिल रहा है, और ये भी आप कह रहे हैं कि कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर को फायदा पहुंचाने वाला बजट मालूम पड़ता है. विपक्ष का आरोप है ये. मैं आर श्रीनिवासन जी आपसे जानना चाहती हूं, बार बार ये कहा जा रहा था कि सरकार को इन्वेस्टमेंट पर ध्यान देना चाहिए और खास तौर से इंडस्ट्री को कैसे बढ़ावा मिले इस पर ही ध्यान देना चाहिए. माइक्रो लेवल पे नहीं बल्कि मैक्रो लेवल पर उसको सोचना है कि कैसे मैक्रो लेवल पे इन्वेस्टमेंट बढ़ाए ताकि जो इंडस्ट्री है उसको बूस्ट मिले और इसके बाद हमारी अर्थव्यवस्था को गति मिल सके. क्या जिस तरह से कोशिश की गई है वो वाकई कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर को ज्यादा फेवर करती हुई नहीं दिख रही है? ये
नहीं, ऐसा तो नहीं कह सकते. कई सारे मतलब इनिशिएटिव्स लिए गए हैं. माइक्रो एंड स्मॉल एंड मीडियम एंटरप्राइजेस के लिए तो कई सारे इनिशिएटिव्स हैं. मुझे तो ये भी बहुत पॉजिटिव लगा कि वो जो 1000 करोड़ दिए गए हैं सेटू के लिए, और एक इनोवेशन फंड सेटअप किया गया है, इंक्यूबेशन फैसिलिटी सेटअप किया है टू प्रमोट एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप. तो मेरे ख्याल में आप ये नहीं कह सकते कि केवल बिग बिजनेस के लिए ये बजट है. मेरे ख्याल में स्मॉल बिजनेसेस, माइक्रो एंटरप्राइजेस, स्टार्टअप्स, उनके लिए काफी फर्क पड़ेगा. एक सिग्निफिकेंट डिटेल है ये ट्रीटमेंट ऑफ ऑल्टरनेटिव इन्वेस्टमेंट फंड. ऑल्टरनेटिव इन्वेस्टमेंट फंड हम और आप वेंचर कैपिटल के नाम से जानते हैं. ये जो इन्वेस्टमेंट फंड्स हैं जो दे फाइनेंस स्टार्टअप, वेंचर फंडिंग देते हैं. बहुत महत्वपूर्ण रोल है ऐसी फंड्स की एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप डेवलप करने में. और उनकी कुछ मतलब टैक्स इश्यूज थे जो इस बजट में सॉर्ट आउट कर दिए गए हैं, और मेरे ख्याल में वेंचर फंडिंग के लिए काफी अच्छा बूस्ट दिया गया है।
Srinivasan, we'll come back to you on this, but we have our colleague Rajkamal at the CII. Rajkamal, I would like you to ask the people at the CII, as far as investments are concerned, you know, one of the biggest complaints of the industry, the corporates, were that there's not been much incentives for them to invest in the country. You please find out if they think that after this budget, the private sector, the corporates will be able to invest more in this country.
Okay, Girish, I'll take that question to Deepak Puri. He is CMD Mozabair. Mr. Deepak, today's budget, do you think the finance minister has been giving signals? Has he been able to give signals for the private sector to invest more in this country, because that has been a bone of contention in last one and a half year? Do you think the budget, using that budget, finance minister has given you those signals?
Absolutely. Let me just try and cover one of the sectors which I wanted to talk about. Is the world's single largest manufacturing sector. All the tiger economies you talk about, South Korea, Taiwan, China, these economies have taken off on the basis of A, manufacturing, and B, always on electronics. Electronics is the largest single manufacturing sector in the world. Now let's switch on to a subsector of electronics. Today the finance minister has harped on it. Is called renewable energy. Renewable energy, solar, is a semiconductor in itself. Now semiconductor fabs are expensive. He has addressed all the issues concerning the solar sector, and he has highlighted, which you may be able to hear if you hear carefully, highlighted off-grid solar power. Please remember one thing, which is a very important factor. Today, you can't set up, if you have a thermal power station and you have to take it to the villages, you have to have transmission lines, substations, very expensive deliveries. If you have it right on the spot next to the village, you provide off-grid solar power, and that is 24 hours if you got storage batteries in there.
Sir, Deepak, I just want to give us the industry point of view. How did the ease of doing business will take a lead from today's budget? Has finance minister been able to give you those indications? The corporate tax has been reduced to 25%. It was earlier 30%, and there are several incentives, especially in public-private partnership and infrastructure sector. Do you think this kind of budget will help the industry to invest and give boost economy, especially to generate jobs? Growth without job generation may not be helpful for the country. So how does industry partner with government with kind of incentives announced today?
Your question is very interesting, and I agree with that absolutely. Growth without jobs is nothing at all. The finance minister has addressed this straight away on the issues that, look, jobs will be created by creating ease of business. He did not spell out, he has mentioned ease of doing business, he did not spell out exactly the nuances of what he is going to do, but this will come out 100% subsequently as he eases business through. And the way to do it is that if I come to India as a foreigner, where do I go if I want to set up a plant? Who will tell me what to do? What are my permissions required? How quickly can I get it? I am 100% certain we at CII, and we have talked to the finance minister on this, and they said a single window clearance for every sector. That's what we have requested, and I think this government is very receptive to moving forward on that basis.
Thank you, Mr. Deepak. Rajkamal, the industry has been participating from finance minister's budget.
Thank you, Rajkamal. Thanks for joining with us, Mr. Singh. The question was till yesterday. It was discussed, ad infinitum about the public investments in infrastructure. You think that, going by speech, there seems to be a lot of focus on that, because it's very clear that the economic survey also spoke about, though in the future private investments should be the engine of growth. As of now, public investments need to be the engine of growth. So you see that in the
Girish, I mean, there cannot be one sector investing. I mean, either public or private. Because when we look at, I mean, the private investment, it again, I mean, whether it's the domestic investment or it's foreign investment. So if the foreign investment has to come to India, then in that case, the benefits have to be given. Now, one step is that, if somebody wants to invest in infrastructure, whether it is power or road or like that, how many types of the clearances that person has to get. There may be, I mean, very large.
You're talking of the private sector.
Of the private sector.
If they want
when we talk about the public sector investing in this, then even that, I mean, the return which will be coming out of that, how to ensure, because it will be either on the basis of build, operate and transfer, or it will be any other model which they will be looking at.
Revisiting, actually he's talking of revisiting and rebalancing the PPP model. Yes, Bhanumurthy.
In terms of capital expenditure, if you look at the medium-term fiscal policy statement, compared to the revised estimates in 2014-15, where the capital expenditure is expected to be at 1.2%, the budget estimates actually you see the decline to 1.1% in terms of the public capital expenditure. Within
this
the
is last year revised estimate and budget estimate? Or?
Yes, the revised estimate. Last year revised estimate, it shows 1.2% for the capital expenditure, public capital expenditure. Now the budgeted one is 1.1%. Actually there is a slight decline. But within the public capital expenditure, the infrastructure investment is going to be maybe 0.7% of GDP. In fact, the finance minister makes in his speech, he says 70,000 crores is the infrastructure investment, which is very small.
He himself says that, it's not 70,000 crores is not what we, meanwhile there are some reactions from various political parties and leaders. Let's have a look at that.
कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर का जो उन्होंने टैक्स घटाया है, ये इस बजट की सबसे मुख्य बात है। पर जो उम्मीद थी कि ये बजट से हमारे ग्रामीण क्षेत्र में विकास और प्रगति होगी, क्रय शक्ति बढ़ेगी। जब तक इस देश में क्रय शक्ति, खरीदने की ताकत ना बढ़े, तब तक ये अपने देश की अर्थव्यवस्था सुधर नहीं सकती। कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर का जो उन्होंने टैक्स घटाया है, ये इस बजट की सबसे मुख्य बात है। पर जो उम्मीद थी कि ये बजट से हमारे ग्रामीण क्षेत्र में विकास और प्रगति होगी, क्रय शक्ति बढ़ेगी। जब तक इस देश में क्रय शक्ति, खरीदने की ताकत ना बढ़े, तब तक ये अपने देश की अर्थव्यवस्था सुधर नहीं सकती।
दिस बजट इज नथिंग मोर देन अ जगलरी ऑफ वर्ड्स। सिवाय पूंजीपतियों को किसी को कोई रिलीफ नहीं मिली। कॉर्पोरेट टैक्स 30% से घटाकर 25% किया गया है मिडिल क्लास के लिए, और जो कम आमदनी वाला वर्ग है उनको किसी किस्म की कोई राहत नहीं दी गई है।
हम इस बजट को जो है वो देश की प्रोग्रेस एंड प्रॉस्पेरिटी का गजट के रूप में देखते हैं। ये बजट ही नहीं है बल्कि देश की समृद्धि और देश के विकास का गजट है। और जिस तरह से देश के गांव, गरीब, किसान, झुग्गी झोपड़ी के इंसान, महिला और नौजवान, हर समाज के हर वर्ग को प्रगति की मुख्य धारा में शामिल करने की कोशिश इस बजट के माध्यम से की गई है।
और अब चलते हैं, रक्षा मंत्री मनोहर पर्रिकर इस समय मीडिया से बात कर रहे हैं इस बजट के बारे में। सुनते हैं क्या कहते हैं।
Comparing the amount of money increase share with the states, I think he has done very well. Thank you. 9.5 out of 10. आप गाड़ी में जाएंगे। 9.5 मार्क मेरे हिसाब से। Done an extremely good job in spite of fact that he has to shell out almost 15-20% to the states extra. So while controlling everything, he has done a good job, particularly towards poor of the society and the weaker section. Thank you.
हमारी संवाददाता अनु दीवान के पास पीएचडी चैम्बर में वो हमारे कुछ मेहमानों के साथ मौजूद हैं। अनु, किस तरह का रिएक्शन मिल रहा है आज के केंद्रीय बजट के बारे में वहाँ?
जी बिल्कुल अमृता, मेरे साथ प्रेसिडेंट है पीएचडी चैम्बर के, मैं सीधा उन्हीं के पास चलती हूँ। सर, इस पूरे बजट की बात करें तो क्या आपकी पहली प्रतिक्रिया क्या है?
हम सोचते हैं ओवरऑल ये अच्छा बजट है, लेकिन इंडस्ट्रियल एक्टिविटी के लिए थोड़ा और इनको बेनिफिट्स देने चाहिए थे। जैसे ये ऑटोमोबाइल सेक्टर में पहले इन्होंने थोड़ी ड्यूटी कम करी थी, अब वो हम सोच रहे थे कि एग्जाम्पशन फिर से आएगा, वो नहीं आया है। और ये जो सर्विस टैक्स और एक्साइज ड्यूटी थोड़ी सी बढ़ाई है वो ऑब्वियसली गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज को थोड़ा महंगा करेगी, तो ये नहीं करना था।
सर बिल्कुल, जिस तरह सर्विस टैक्स बढ़ा है तो जाहिर सी बात है इसमें मिडिल क्लास के लिए बजट में कुछ दिखा नहीं खास।
मिडिल क्लास के लिए दो एरियाज में डेफिनेटली है। एक जो इन्होंने इंश्योरेंस की बात करी है और एग्जेम्पशंस दिए हैं, और दूसरी एरिया इन्होंने जो ट्रांसपोर्ट अलाउंस में डेफिनेटली बेनिफिट दिया है। तो ये दो मिला के इनका इफेक्ट तो पॉजिटिव होएगा मिडिल क्लास के लिए, और पहली बार बहुत सालों में है कि जो मिडिल क्लास को डायरेक्टली इन टैक्सेस के बेनिफिट मिल रहे हैं।
जैसे बिल्कुल हम देखते हैं कि जब से प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी का स्वच्छ भारत अभियान, स्किल डेवलपमेंट और मेक इन इंडिया चला है, इस बजट में हमें नया टर्म देखने को मिला पेंशन सोसाइटी। वो पेंशन सोसाइटी किस तरह से केटर करेगी, क्या बेनिफिट्स होंगे उसके, वो अगर आप आम भाषा में समझाएं तो।
देखिए, पेंशन ये होती है कि जो आपने अपनी जिंदगी में कमाया है उसका कुछ भाग आप अलग से बैंक में रख दें, सेविंग होती है, और उससे बाजिंदगी आपको रिटायरमेंट के बाद पैसे मिलते रहते हैं। तो ये बहुत ही डिजायरेबल चीज है, क्योंकि हम देखते हैं कि वृद्धावस्था में लोग के पास पैसे नहीं होते, वो फिर बेसिकली सोसाइटी पे बहुत डिपेंडेंट हो जाते हैं, अपनी फैमिलीज पे डिपेंडेंट हो जाते हैं। और आपको पता है कि आज के ज़माने में थोड़ी आर्थिक इंडिपेंडेंस बहुत ज़रूरी है। तो इसके वजह से मैं सोचता हूँ कि ये जो पेंशन सोसाइटी की बात कर रहे हैं ये बहुत ही अच्छी चीज़ है, और ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोगों को इसमें जाना चाहिए।
टैक्स स्लैब में भी कोई चेंज नहीं हुआ, जैसे सभी लोग एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे थे कि इस बार जो टैक्स स्लैब होगा उसमें बदलाव आएगा, लेकिन कोई चेंज नहीं किया।
अब इसका जब तक हम फाइन डिटेल्स नहीं देखेंगे, क्योंकि वित्त मंत्री जी ने ये भी कहा था कि 4.5 लाख तक एग्जेम्पशन होएगा, तो अब ये कैसे होएगा, किस फॉर्म में होएगा, वो तो डिटेल देख के लगभग बताएंगे।
वित्त मंत्री ने ब्लैक मनी के लिए भी एक कानून की बात की है, क्या लगता है कि वो जो कानून है उसमें किसी तरह जो अब तक ऑपोजिशन ब्लैक मनी को लेकर एनडीए गवर्नमेंट को टारगेट करता आया है?
इनको ब्लैक मनी के अगेंस्ट लेजिस्लेशन लाना चाहिए, अफेक्टिव लेजिस्लेशन लाना चाहिए। वित्त मंत्री जी अपने आप लॉयर हैं, तो अच्छा ड्राफ्ट करके ऐसा लेजिस्लेशन लाना चाहिए जिससे जो ब्लैक मनी लेते हैं या रखते हैं उनको पेनल्टी हो, और जो भी एक्शन लेना चाहिए गवर्नमेंट को लेना चाहिए। लेकिन एट द सेम टाइम जो ऑनेस्ट आदमी है उसको इसके घेरे में हैरेसमेंट नहीं होनी चाहिए।
सर बिल्कुल, जिस तरह
हमसे बात कर रही थी और उनके गेस्ट ये कह रहे थे कि सरकार की तरफ से जो आज बजट पेश किया गया है उसमें कुछ इन्वेस्टमेंट की तरफ जोर है और इंडस्ट्री को बढ़ावा देने की कोशिश जरूर की गई है। अच्छी बात अगर हम देखें तो यह है कि ब्लैक मनी रोकने के लिए एक तरह से मैसेज दिया गया है, सोशल सिक्योरिटी फॉर पुअर है, और कॉर्पोरेट के लिए राहत देने की बातें कही गई हैं। लेकिन अगर नेगेटिव देखा जाए तो फिस्कल डेफिसिट के कंसोलिडेशन को डेफर कर दिया गया है, और दूसरी तरफ टैक्स पेयर्स को ज्यादा रिलीफ नहीं है। और अगर आम कंज्यूमरेबल जो आइटम्स हैं, चाहे वो फोन कॉल्स हो, चाहे वो सिगरेट हो, चाहे वो बाहर जाकर खाना खाना हो या रेस्टोरेंट में जाना हो, या इस तरह की जो आम मध्यवर्गीय परिवारों की जो छोटी छोटी जरूरतें हैं उनके मद्देनजर देखा जाए तो थोड़ी सी महंगाई आ सकती है। हालांकि जानकार ये भी कह रहे हैं कि 4.5 लाख का करीब आम आदमी को सेवा कर में छूट भी मिलने का दावा किया जा रहा है। अब उसकी निटिग्रिटी आने वाले वक्त में पता चलेगी, लेकिन इस वक्त हम चलते हैं बैंगलोर। हमारे सहयोगी अमृतांशु राय वहां पर मौजूद हैं कुछ मेहमानों के साथ।
अमृता, सबसे पहले तो जो सेंस यहाँ पे बजट का हम लोगों को मिला है उससे तो यही लग रहा है कि वित्त मंत्री ने कोई भी ऐसा कदम नहीं उठाया है जिससे कि ग्रोथ में जो कंपोनेंट्स हैं उसमें किसी भी तरह का डर या भय पैदा हो। इस मामले पर और ज्यादा बात करने के लिए हमारे साथ है प्रोफेसर चरण सिंह। प्रोफेसर चरण सिंह is the RBI chair professor of economics, and he was one of the persons who recommended to the government on forming a committee for debt management of the government. Sir, how would you categorize this budget? Good, bad, not so good? How?
I think it's a very good budget. They have taken care of many things in the budget. If you look at budget, is basically the Union Finance Minister's speech is just not an accounting exercise. It's basically a policy laying out exercise. And if you measure it on that account, this budget is a superb budget. After a long time, many bold decisions have been taken in the budget. Just to name a few, just imagine the Debt Management Office announced many years ago but never created. He has done it at one bang. The monetary policy framework, there was no clarity what should be done on inflation targeting. He has come out strongly and saying, I'm going to do an agreement on that. Gold is a very sensitive issue in our country, and he has brought gold on the table, and he said he was going to monetize gold to 21,000 tons of gold. So there's lots of temple gold, there's lots of household gold that he has brought into the ambit.
And then about the black money, sir, of the impact of, see, the finance minister could have easily gone ahead and said that we will bring in a legislation on black money. But he went a step further and elaborated on the provisions and the stringent provisions. What is the attempt? What is his intention in doing so?
I think the black money thing is another very bold step to come out in your speech and give a framework of how you are going to handle black money. Firstly, such stringent punishments that he has announced, 10 years and 7 years of imprisonment if the wealth is out. I think this is a very, very bold step that he has taken. Once generating of black money and holding it outside the country is stopped, you will see the economy will prosper itself within the country.
Do you see it coming back anyway?
I'm sure it's going to come back very soon, and I think he should give a provision that this is the date from which we are going to start regulating and monitoring, and you will find there's going to be a flow of money back into the country. Once that black money which is stashed out comes within the borders of the country, obviously it's going to lead to liquidity, it's going to lead to growth, it's probably going to either get into the manufacturing sector or create demand for the manufacturing sector. I think that is how it will lead to better growth. Also, he is talking in terms of number of houses that he wants to build, rural and urban, 2 crores and 4 crores. Each of the house involves 270 industries. If these houses start getting constructed, which is very labor intensive, then those 270 industries also get an impetus.
We'll get back. Amrita and Girish, the sense that I'm getting out here is that the finance minister has somehow tried to get in money from nowhere, and this nowhere can be defined as getting the black money which is abroad, stashed abroad to India, and second, monetize gold. Huge reserves of gold in India, and he's trying to monetize that. So he's got money from nowhere suddenly, and it's a beautiful piece of jugglery by the finance minister. Yeah.
तो ब्लैक मनी को रोकने की भी कोशिश की गई है और बेनामी संपत्तियों पर भी नजर रखने की कोशिश इस बजट में है, लेकिन पॉलिटिकल नजर से देखें तो ये बजट कैसा है, आइए दिखाते हैं कुछ राजनीतिक प्रतिक्रियाएं।
ये जो आज भारतीय जनता पार्टी के नेतृत्व में एनडीए की गवर्नमेंट ने तो अपना जो पहला पूर्ण जो बजट रखा है, जनरल बजट रखा है, तो ये बजट हमें देश की आम जनता के हिसाब से कोई प्रैक्टिकल नजर नहीं आ रहा है। और इतना ही नहीं, एक तरफ सरकार ने ये कहा है कि हम कोई टैक्स नहीं लगाएंगे, लेकिन नटशेल में हम इस नतीजे पर पहुंचते हैं कि जितने भी फैसले लिए गए हैं इस सरकार में, तो जैसे इस सरकार में ये कहा गया है इस बजट में कि ज्यादा निवेश करने पर टैक्स में छूट मिलेगी, कंपनियों पर टैक्स घटेगा। तो इससे ऐसा ये लगता है कि ये जो पूरा जो बजट है तो घूम फिर कर तो जो बड़ी बड़ी कंपनियां हैं, बड़े बड़े उद्योगपति हैं, धन्ना सेठ है, तो उनके हित को ध्यान में रखकर ये बजट तैयार किया गया है। आम जनता के हित में ये बजट हमें कोई ज्यादा प्रैक्टिकल नजर नहीं आता।
टैक्स में भी कोई छूट नहीं दी।
Okay, Srinivasan, coming back to this thing, we are just seeing some of the graphs which are coming on our screens. It's quite obvious that some of the social sector schemes seems to have taken a hit. Some of most of the schemes have got less allocations than what it had in the previous years.
Certainly, I think this is part of a very, clear.
Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan has come down, you can see on the screens.
Yes.
22,000 crore and मनरेगा पे 34,699 crore 50, हालांकि थोड़ा सा मामूली बढ़ोतरी देखने को मिली, मामूली बढ़ोतरी।
But the social sector seems to have taken a hit.
लेकिन हेल्थ मिशन पे काफी पैसे कम करने की बात है।
इंदिरा आवास योजना has declined.
इंदिरा आवास योजना, ICDS, इंदिरा आवास योजना,
हालांकि ICDS
so this was This, earlier we thought that there is a better allocation.
मिड मील पे तो काफी 13,000 करोड़ से अब 8,900 करोड़ कर दिया गया है, और हेल्थ मिशन पे भी काफी कम कर दिया गया है.
Srinivasan, and I want all of you to respond to this. I think, if please tell me if I am right. It's very clear the government, after the 14th finance, accepting the 14th finance commission, huge increase in allocations to the states. Now it expects the states to take care of part of these budgets. Is that the intention?
That is very clearly the intention. There are about 66 centrally sponsored schemes running right now. The Finance Commission itself has identified about 30 schemes which can be transferred to the states. The money devolution has already been promised. The other thing is that these kind of changes are going to happen. Many of these schemes were introduced during the 10 years of UPA regime. This government was very clear that it plans to wind down many of those, maybe come up with alternative ones of its own, and more importantly allow the states to also choose what kind of schemes to run, what areas to focus on, whether it's health or education or this thing. So in an ideal world, I think this is a very progressive step. The question is that the world is not ideal, as we all know, and what will actually happen down the line. So I think in the short term there will be some hit. Despite the leakages, there were some people getting benefits from these schemes. Those are going to be hit. That hit is already. You see, the allocations have been cut for many schemes even during the current year.
Right.
Monies have not been paid out, and if you talk to the potential recipients, you get a lot of feedback saying that the money is not coming.
No, that is okay. The JAM, they are talking of JAM,
Jan Dhan Yojana, Aadhaar or mobile.
And hopefully that JAM is going to, plug the leakages. That's what they're talking about. But we have to go to the Rajya Sabha session. We'll go and see what's happening in the Rajya Sabha, and we'll come back soon.